Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen, live on Neeves Knives. How's everybody doing tonight or today? Hopefully all is well. We are going to do a, excuse me, a pocket check. So might as well do that before we get started because we do have a lot of topics to talk about. So might as well get started. What's in everybody's pocket? Kara's playing her games right now. So she's got a, I don't know, tournament or something. She's headphones on. She's busy, but she's better be getting my jewel soon. I got excuse me, I got a new blowtorch today. Nice. I'm actually going to be doing a short soon. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do torch anodizing or if I'm going to do like something really special. It's easier if I do the torch anodizing, which I think might be better for the majority of people watching. So, but that's going to be a cool short. I'm going to basically modify an entire knife all into a 60 second short, but explain it in good detail to where anybody watching will understand exactly what to do. At least to the best of my ability in 60 seconds. The Super Freak. Nice. Good one. Bug Out. What else do we got? Mini Tempest. Oh man, that's such a good one. So I'm in sweatpants, but I actually have that new Elementum button lock. I know a lot of you gave it shit because they didn't do a detent, and I did too, obviously. But man, there's something about the Elementum button lock that I really, really like. Even the budget version, it's just an awesome knife. It's like having a gravity knife without it actually being a gravity knife, so it's not going to be restricted, or at least it shouldn't be restricted in some of the areas that restrict gravity knives because it does lock open and closed, but it does use gravity. But in this case, with the new one, you can flick it, and it's got titanium and 20 CV. I like it a lot. And also, I did measure the thickness behind the edge. It's the exact same. And we're going to go into measuring behind the edge thickness and all that stuff here in a minute, but they're both 15 thousandths behind the edge. The difference is this one's a flat grind, so it obviously gets thicker quicker. So at a 15-degree angle, if I sharpen both of them at 15 degrees per side, this one's going to be slightly thicker behind the edge. Hey, Nate Dog, we got a new member. Awesome, man. Thank you. Shout out to the Bang Gang squad. We got a new member in the house. Oh, and shout out to Patrick. Oh man, I should have linked it. He does woodworking. If you guys notice, I got the knife shelf back there and the Neeves knives. He's the one who did those. You can, maybe one of the moderators, I don't know if he'll be able to do it, but if you put up your Instagram, Patrick, we could send people over there to check out your Instagram. He's always doing different types of woodworking and things like that, and it's just awesome stuff. Really, really nice stuff. All handmade. The Vero Pry Bar. Yeah, I got one actually not far away myself. So right here is the Vero Pry Bar. This one's got the Neeves Knives logo. For those of you that don't know, it holds a bit. And then it's a nice little pry bar. They come in different sizes. Anybody who does not know, I think it's 3 different sizes. What do you mean? Why am I mad at you, Alex? I don't know what we're talking about. What's up, Alex? Do you know anything about legality in Australia? I just know damn near everything is illegal there. That's all I know. You guys are under a regime there. No, I don't know much about Australia whatsoever. I'm actually kind of joking, somewhat. I know I get lots of comments, about you guys, and then also the UK. So, I know what I see in the comments from people that live there. And I'm constantly hearing, crazy stuff. So, you see my comment? Oh, yes. Okay. Yes, I did see that. And, I have not opened it yet. Just so you guys believe me, I have not opened it yet. It's still all in the wrapper. I got to do a first impressions on it. I'm trying. I got probably about 5 knives right here right now that are just tempting me to open, but I'm going to do it on camera. So it's, you know, it's a real first impressions. Now the buck that actually, I did film that as a first impressions, fresh out of the box, but I wound up refilming it. And the reason why was because, sorry, I keep sniffing. Right at the end, I realized it was a detent nub. I didn't even know. So I felt like, it's not that I felt like an idiot. It's just that I felt like the video wasn't going to be valuable. So I didn't want to not explain that detent nub. You know what I mean? So I was like, no, I got to refilm this because I got to explain to them the detent nub because, let me just show you guys. And that is this buck. I just posted the first impressions on this and also the little automatic, which is Cali legal. So it should be legal just about everywhere. Now, man, the detent on this thing, guys, best detent buck has ever done, ever. I mean, it is so good. It's especially anyway, you can light switch it or push button it, but man, this push button, I mean, it hammers out. Like if you watch my hand, it's almost like a spring unloading. I mean, this thing kicks. And the blade is good, even though the geometry is thick behind the edge, technically, because it's a hollow, it feels thin and it cuts actually really good. John Burns, we got another Bang Gang member. Shout out to the Bang Gang squad, man. Thank you for joining. Awesome. Hell yeah. You open that knife right now, damn it. I would, but then you guys won't watch my first impressions. I would do it. I'm not even positive. I think it's the one you're talking about. I'm not 100%. It is an AM8, I believe. Yeah, because it says AM8 on there. Yeah. Miguron, you know, they do this. AM8 and Miguron is the same. So they're the ones who sent it to me. I would open it, man. I wish I would have already done first impressions on it because then we could be checking out again or right now. Do you have that new Actinon Verba or whatever it's called? It's an Axis Lock and Elmex. Yes, I did a first impressions on it. You can actually, it was like a little over a month ago. If you want to go check it out, I did do a first impressions on it. So many new Bang Gang members. That's right, Breeze. That's right. I've got a Malibu and a Swayback coming on Friday. Hell yeah. Man, I really thought about, I didn't pull the trigger, but when I was grabbing the links for this video, I was like that close to getting a Spyderco Capara because I've never owned one. But I've had them in for sharpening and, you know, tried them out, tested them out. And I love the knife. I really do. It's a knife that obviously I like a lot. If I've gotten them in, tested them, and now I want one. It is that good. The only thing is, man, they're like almost $300. They're like $280, $285 or something. So it's a bit of money, but it's one of those knives, you know, it's one of those knives that are really good. Also the smock I could link too, which I was surprised, but I have had a smock and I did wind up selling or trading it or something like that, which I love that knife. Don't get me wrong. That knife is amazing. One of the best button locks. And the reason why is because it's a button lock on a liner instead of a plunge, which is different. So a button lock that's on a plunge has a spring, a regular coil spring that pushes the plunge behind the tang. The smock is actually just like a compression lock. So it's just basically, it's like the same thing as this, with an actual button that comes from the factory. This one's a CME from OCD for EDC. Now, if you guys watch that video I posted yesterday with me and OCD for EDC, that was only like 10% of my knife collection. Literally, only like 10%. And I'm struggling right now to store everything. I did buy a couple new storage cases. I'll show you guys. So this one I just got. It's somewhat hard. It's not perfectly hard, but you know, it's hard. And then inside, and I also linked everything down in the description, guys. So if you guys are wondering how much or anything like that, just click down in the description. But it gives you all the little spots, and then it's got this. I started putting some in here already, but look at how many layers it's got. It gives me all these layers. So this will be very handy and very heavy after it's full. And then I also got this one. And then a company right after me buying all these contacted me. They're just gonna send like if you guys watched my that video I did where I unboxed all those combo designs, the best techs. That same case, that company, I think that makes that is going to send me one, and he's going to give me a discount code for you guys. I'm not going to get anything out of it but the case, but you guys get a discount code. So I'll be showing that soon. But these are really badass because, and I got it linked down in the description, all different sizes of these. This is my second one. I got my big one behind me. But you get it, and then you get to decide how you want your foam, because all these are like split apart. See how like when I go like this, how like I can just like tear it out. Like you can just tear it out exactly how you want. There's like a bunch of little cuts and squares, and then it's layered. So you can do whatever shape you want, basically. That way you can fit the knives in how you want, or firearms, or whatever you want in the case. And it makes it to where you can organize it exactly how you want. So I'm really excited about that because I got knives all over the damn place and I got to get them stored. So that's really cool. How many knives do you have? I don't know. I'm guessing, if I had to just guess, like if you put a gun to my head and said, guess, I'd say 250. Maybe 300. I don't know, because like that case, like I said, that's like the big one I just did. I would guess that this is about 10% of my knives. If I had to guess, 5 to 10%. And I just say that because I can look around and I can see, and that's a big case, man. Heavy too. But I don't know. I haven't counted them. Like I said, probably like 250, I'd guess 250 to 300. But a lot of them are, you know, I mean, I got a large USA made knife collection, a very large USA made knife collection. But then I got a lot of budget knives. I got knives of all different price ranges, everything you could imagine. Do you have a camper or trailer? If so, I do not have a camper or trailer. Savivi, never heard of him. Snipe Sergeant's never heard of Savivi. Well, go and follow his content so you guys can remind him about Savivis every time you watch one of his videos, and let him know that whatever he's showing, that there's a Savivi out there that's better. Just don't listen to anything he says about pole sharpeners. Shout out to Mike Emler, another channel you guys should be following 100%. Jared, spray your liner after play. Yeah, I know. I got to get some of that stuff, the plastic dip or whatever. I think I got some, actually. I do have some. I just never put it on, but I do have some. So that's coming. Savivi is a good knife brand. Yes, they are. There's like 7 to 10 reliably good overseas companies that not only are like good as in like you can contact them, good warranties, they make good products, good quality, they do decent heat treats, they try to always upgrade and do better for the community, they always hire USA made knife designers, like just all around good. And for what you get, you're getting basically the best bang for your buck. I'd say about 7 to 10 of those that there is. Now, there's always the pop-up companies that are going to pop up, like kind of like the, what's it called? The shielded knives. They're pretty decent. They're on their way up. They are budget knives, but they're on their way up. They're going to start doing really good. I know Lefty EDC. I know he has them doing some OEM work for him. So, you know, I think that we're going to see them start making their way. Everything I've tried from them has been decent, right? Not great, not bad, decent though. Oh, this is the Bulbasaur. I did not link it. It's a mirror bladed 14C 28M goofy knife, but I mean it's a good knife, good action, has a cool sound, but nothing spectacular. You got a knee bang bang member, damn it. I got another one. Oh man, my thing just jumped.
Do you want just one or both?
Just one for now. Here's my lovely wife, Kara.
Hello.
We got some new people
with
in
the
here.
New merch.
Everyone asks, where is the best place to find ugly prostitutes? Here you go. Thank you, babe. There you guys go. There's the best place to find ugly prostitutes. Demonetized. All right, guys. Oh yeah, JD for EDC, another one. Go and check his channel out too. Picked up my first Kunwoon. I'm impressed, man. I am trying like hell to get a hold of that company to hopefully, you know, start working with them. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I like what they do too. I've been impressed with everything I've tried from them. They're another company that's good up. Like I would put them in that list of what I said, but I can't because they don't have enough knife designs yet. They haven't made a reputation yet. They're in the process though. I'm the alpha simp for Kara. Alex is the alpha simp. See, the thing sucks though is, man, she hates simps. Can you find, or you can find, there you go. Thank you, Fiend. I appreciate it, brother. He doesn't care about his new members. I'm canceling my new, what? Come on, man. Come on. Don't do that to me. I care about you. I care about all my members. They're too busy stealing Kevin's ideas. That's hilarious. That is funny as hell. I love that. That's hilarious. What's your opinion on Ned Foss? Stay away, stay away, stay away. So, my experience has only been one. They sent me in. Well, okay, so I do notice that they have designs that other companies also have. So I don't know if they're mixed in some way, shape, or form, but they sent me a knife and they asked me to do a video on it. And, you know, I told them I'm going to be honest. You know, it's an honest video. So I did it. And it was so bad. It was so bad. It was dangerously bad. It failed on me, like while checking for blade rock, and that's why I always tell you guys, get your fingers out of the way when you check. Don't check a knife like this, because if it fails, it's going to fail into you. Always keep your fingers away from the lock bar and check it, right? And also, if you're doing a frame lock, don't put your fingers on the frame, because now you're just going to prevent from finding out if it has rock. Make sure you're not touching the lock bar and check it like that. Well, I went to do that and it literally was so easy. Like I put pressure and it was like, wham, it went right down. So that was just one thing. So then after that, I started checking it. Like I'd go like this and I'd tap it and bam, it would fail. And that wasn't even like I guess that would be considered the worst of it, but there was a lot of other things, like a lot of other things. The steel felt like crap. There was like chips around the edge, like just so many little things. They did thank me though. They thanked me and said that they were going to work on it, which I do respect, but I haven't found or I haven't seen or checked out anything since then. So I can't recommend something that was that bad when they sent it to me. You know, it wasn't like I went and ordered it. They sent it to me. So, which I'm sure they just ordered and sent it to me. That's usually how it goes. You know, it's not like they don't usually pick the best one off the shelf and send it to you. In most cases, not saying they can't have them, but usually they just send one. But, you know, if you're going to ever look at the best chances of getting one, it would be the ones that directly come from them. And that was really bad. Hey, there's Lefty EDC. Also, keep your feet out of the way of blades. Yes, especially when you're dancing. Especially when you are dancing. You don't want to do that. Otherwise, you might wind up with a nice, big, nasty scar. And it might feel like you're walking around with twisted sisal rope under your foot all day. Don't walk on knives. No, don't walk on knives. Unless if it's not that broad of a blade. I mean, if it's 940, you know, broad, like Mike would say, then you might be okay. You might be okay. Just don't go anything past the 940, like your boy Mike Emler with the 2 bones. Changed mine. Going live. Awesome. So Mike Emler's going live right after we get off of here. He's had one hell of a day, so you guys should definitely go give him some support and watch his ass sweat. Samsung, does the foot scar look cool? You tell me. I'm on. It's healing pretty good. So, I mean, Kara likes it. So, I'll be back, y'all. It's thunderstorming and the critters are freaking. All right, Joe. We'll give it a couple minutes before we get into this list. Then, if you're coming back quick, that healed really. I thought so too. That's what I was saying, man. Luckily, I mean, it was a brand spanking new knife, fresh out of the package. So clean cut. I mean, the only way it could have been any cleaner is if I would have sharpened it. Other than that, I mean, it was a super clean cut. Yes, it was big. Yes, it was deep, but it couldn't have healed any better. Yes, I have some nerve damage, but thank God I don't have any muscle damage or, or anything like that, tendons or anything like that. It was all nerves, all meat. And that's why when I stepped on it, it just felt like mush. And that's why I didn't like when I got stabbed in the hand, that like almost felt like I got electrocuted because I went right into a nerve. Like, even though I cut the nerves on there, I severed them, you know, like they were just cut. So they were gone. With this, I went to the bone and, through the nerve. So like, and I still have nerve damage in both my thumbs, but with that one, it's numb all around it. And, it feels really weird. That scar might be the nicest thing on the foot. I know. I stepped up my sexiness by at least 3.5 points. At least. Otherwise, just try the stunt, Jared. With the knife. You will try and try. I think it's not that easy. Craig Hamilton with the 5 bones for the foot picks. I don't know why I didn't think about getting a damn super chat for that shit. Man, I'm coming up, guys. I'm coming up. Feet picks galore. Jared, you should see the other guy. I know. That's the thing. You should see the other guy. Can we see the knife that cut you? Yeah. Where do I have it? I have it right here. Just give me one second. Here it is. That's the boy that got me all the way through, all the way to the top. Well, to the top. And that's why you can see when you go, if you look at my foot, how it goes around the heel right there. That's because it was this part and it wasn't as broad. And, you know, so the deepest part is the middle of my foot. Like, I almost wonder, like, if the tendons got pushed up with the blade, and that's why they didn't get cut through. Because it's amazing that it doesn't even make sense. Like, how did I not cut any muscles or anything? But luck of the draw, I guess. Thank God. Y'all went foot, didn't you? Yep. Will that knife ever be sold? For more money, maybe. For more money. I mean, you'd have to offer me a lot at this point. I should definitely do a signature on it. Speaking of that, I got to do that mail out. So let's get into some knife talk. We also, guys, we got a really good scent of the day today. Like, you guys don't want to miss that one today. So check this out. So this is a video coming up. I'm going to show you guys. I saw these on the internet and I had to get them. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to do factory edges versus my edges versus cut proof sleeves. So I'm going to put these sleeves on, and Kara's going to try to cut through them and see if she can't cut me. No, I'm just joking. I'll probably wrap it around, I don't know, some type of vegetable or fruit or something, and then attempt to cut through, supposed to be cut through sleeves. These are supposed to be cut proof. You're not supposed to be able to cut through them, but my question is, can my edges cut through it? So I'm going to sharpen a knife like unbelievably sharp. I'll probably do a little video on it too, just to show how sharp it is. I don't know, maybe not. Or maybe in the same video. Maybe I'll like do like a quick 60-second part of where I sharpen the knife, but I'm going to make that sucker so damn sharp that in my opinion, it would be impossible for this to protect anything. We'll see. We'll see. Foot scar. Then the sense on animal magnet. I don't know what that is. Magnetism. Is that what that is? A magnetism scale. 11K. Do I hear 12? Oh man. 15K. Oh man, you guys are gonna get me now. All right, so let's talk about oh, I did get a new set of calipers, guys. I know you guys have been pissed about me not measuring the thickness behind the edges in a lot of videos recently. My calipers got messed up, so I got a new set. So thickness behind the edges, all the videos from now on, we will be getting that. Let's talk about burnt edges. So that's what we're going to get into first. Burnt edges, because I think a lot of people understand burnt edges pretty good. I mean, but just in case, we're going to go over what it is and what it means. Don't forget to hit the like button. I do appreciate all of you guys joining me. Thank you. So, burnt edges. One thing, really quick, what are they? So, what they are is what at a factory, and this is especially for mass-produced knives. Now, we're going to go in pretty deep about this. So, mass-produced knives that are mass-produced. So, in many cases, in order for them to sell at the price that they do, they obviously have to make a lot of them, sell a lot of them. So they need to make them as fast as possible, right? And since they're giving us great materials and all these other great parts, they need to cut costs where they can. They're obviously not freehanding or using a fixed angled system, right? Almost nobody does. Not even high-end knives does that in most cases. Some do, most don't, right? 98 to 99% of the time, if not more, you're getting a belt sharpened edge. So it's a high-speed belt, and it's going, around a thing, and they sharpen it on the belt. Well, that belt is going very fast, and it gets very hot on the steel as it's going so fast. And what it does is it gets hot on the edge, and it makes the edge temperature go above what they heat treated that steel to. So when it goes above what they heat treated that steel to, it compromises the steel at the edge, right? It's that simple. Now, some steels are easier to burn than others. And the only reason why is because they're like, and this is to my understanding, I'm not a heat treater, but to my understanding, like, because they're more finicky, like say M390, you have like when they heat treat it, it has to be within like 50 degrees. Of a specific temperature. Otherwise, it's not going to come out good. So, like it has a less of a window of temperature to mess around with. Anyways, maybe that part's not true, but either way, the point of it going up past the point of which they heat treated at compromises that steel. Now, what happens? So what happens is that part of the steel or the edge gets compromised and it won't last as long. So your edge won't stay sharp for very long. It'll go dull quick. Now, how can you tell? Right? One way you can kind of identify it is if you have a blade that's not coated, so a satin blade. By the way, all these knives I'm pulling up, guys, I have linked down in the description. This is the KANSEPT REVERIE. Awesome front flipper. We'll talk about it here in a little bit. SPYDERCO, Para 3, and MAXAMET. So at the edge, you'll notice it might be a little brown. And that could be an indicator that it's burnt. Could be. Not saying it is, but it could be an indicator that it's burnt. Now, another thing is microchipping. Like, say you've used it a couple times and your edge should be fine, but you have microchipping. How can you tell for microchipping? Well, you take your nail and you just put it right on the edge and you go like this up the edge. And you will feel, it should feel like glass. That's how it should feel. Really smooth. Just no spots, no, you don't feel anything. It's just slick. That's how it should feel. Now, if you feel specks, that's microchipping. So now make sure it's clean. Don't cut tape and then check it, because the tape will be what you feel, right? If it's a clean blade, and you feel little nicks. And also, that nail trick works better than a magnifying glass. It's crazy. I can take my jeweler's loupe or a magnifying glass and not identify a chip as good as I can do it with my nail. And that goes for all of you too. So that will give you a good indicator of microchipping. Now, another thing is rolling, edge rolling. That can happen too. Because usually with burnt edges, it's not going to roll. It's going to microchip or just go dull. And by the way, going dull means you lose the bite, basically. So that level of bite where you touch it and you can really feel the edge kind of snagging your skin a little bit, that goes away. It winds up getting slick. It gets dull. Microchipping and then rolling. Rolling is just where your apex rolls over. Now, can stropping and all that stuff help? Yeah, to some extent. Not with microchipping, though. Only if it maybe goes dull, things like that. Now, what you have to do is you have to start sharpening it. So one sharpening, not usually, 1 to 2 sharpenings can work. Usually 3 edges at the minimum to get rid of burnt steel. Now, can it burn it so bad that it's compromised to the point to where you can't remove enough steel? Yes, it absolutely can. And I've had this happen where, I like, for one example, I had one where I sharpened it. I don't even know how many times, but it took so many edges that the blade didn't even look the same. Like, it didn't even make sense. And until I got into good steel, and I could feel when I got into good steel, but it's just like at that point, I can't even sell this thing now, you know? So, and I also had it another time where I put like 5 edges on it, but with every edge, I removed a ridiculous amount of steel. So the 5 edges equaled about 10 edges, and it was still crappy. And I finally started getting into good steel. So, but usually 90% of the time you can get rid of it in about 2 or 3 edges, right? 2 or 3 edges. Now, that's when you will get into good steel. Now, so that's why you don't want to judge your knife and how it performs before it's been sharpened a few times. Also, the way it feels on the stone, right? When you're sharpening it, how it feels on the stone, that changes. All of that changes. And that's why I can tell in not all cases, but many cases when I get into good steel, because the difference will go from me when I'm on my stone. Like, I can feel the diamonds basically gouging into the steel. I can feel it. The difference between that and then all of a sudden my steel starts skating across, like kind of like glass. I can tell the difference between that, right? One, the diamonds are gouging into the steel. The other one, the steel is basically sliding over the diamonds like glass. So you can really tell the difference there. And putting a couple good edges on it, you will get like the difference between usually, I mean, it can go up, you know, like the first edge will go about 10-15% maybe, and then the second, third edge, you know, you'll get the rest. So, you know, go up like 20%, 25. It depends, right? I'm just bullshitting numbers right now, but that's usually about how much more you get out of the steel, which can be significant. And by the third edge, you know, if you've gotten like, you know, 30% more cutting performance out of it, if not more, you know, in some cases, way more than that. But it just depends. Now, another thing, when it comes to getting a burnt edge and you do get like microchipping and things like that, honing it, you know, yeah, you can hone it back and like, or like, you know, hone it back to straight, or maybe possibly just get the chips out. But your since you're still into burnt steel, most likely it's just going to microchip again. So in the case that you do realize like, yes, my edge is burnt, it's probably just better to just remove as much steel as you can without sacrificing geometry or anything, and try to get into good steel. That way you can put a good quality edge, because this is the next thing, is that your edge is not going to be as good. So sharpening a burnt edge, if it's really bad, yes, it will get sharp. Yes, everything will be, you know, you'll be able to get a good edge on it, but it's not going to be as good. And you might think in some cases, like this has happened to me, that's why I'm saying this, where I thought like my sharpening was bad. Like I thought I was doing like shit, and it had nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me at all. It had everything to do with that steel, the knife, and all that. And I just wasn't getting anywhere. It was like I fucking wasn't doing shit. I couldn't get a burr, and then when I would get a burr, it was just pathetic across the board. And it was because the steel was garbage. It's kind of like when I told you guys about me trying to sharpen gas station knives and what happened. And everybody always asks, what's the most difficult steel you've ever sharpened? Well, it wasn't MAXAMET or S110V. It was gas station junk steel. That's all it was. Like what should be the easiest steel to sharpen was the hardest, because it either wasn't heat treated or maybe had a shitty heat treat. I don't know. But the difference between having a good heat treat and a bad one and getting a good edge is like huge. Like that's why when you get like say a custom heat treat or something that's done very well, you can feel it and you can tell, and your edge, it comes out, you know, the level of sharpness, the ease of sharpening, the ease of burr removal, the ease of bringing up a burr, all those things happen. And soon I am like right now I'm playing catch up with all this stuff, but since I'm back walking again, I am going to be doing these videos that I was talking about before, and one of them is a really badass sharpening video we're going to do. Jared Hall says, curious because I've seen people coat the very edge of the blade when doing that because they didn't want to lose the temper or something to that nature. Coat. Well, what they'll usually do, like I'm thinking this is what you're talking about. You're talking about when they get it wet. So when they sharpen it, what they should be doing is dipping it, getting it wet. If they get it wet, it won't burn it. It's just they have to, like, if you ever watch good grinders, if you have, you can watch videos on it. They constantly keep dipping the blade and then grinding, dipping the blade and then grinding. They're doing it because they don't want to bring up the temperature of the blade because it's already heat treated. If it's already heat treated, they don't want to ruin their heat treat. So Breeze likes to eat treats. No heat treats, eat treats. All right, so soon we're going to check out some knives really quick that I want to show you guys. But let me see if I finished all this. Oh, another thing that can happen too with when it's like that is you might round your tip off very easily. That's another thing that can happen. And in that case, when you do round off your tip, or say if the tip of the edge chips off or things like that, because this depends on geometry and all that, but say if you have a thin tip, right? Like say something like this where it's thin, it's fragile. If that chips off very easily, that's a significant amount of steel you have to remove to get it all the way out. So, but if it's burnt, it can happen very easily. So these are all things that can happen. Now, you're more likely, and this isn't always, I'm not saying like a $250 knife this can happen to. So I'm not saying it can't. All I'm saying is that you are more likely when you buy very, very, very cheap knives, that this would be more of an issue than when you spend a little bit more. They're going to put a little bit more care into it. It's going to have, you know, from the ground up, right? From the kind of heat treat, the HRC they bring it to, the kind of sharpening they do, how fast they do it, how often they renew their belts, how old their belts are, all those things. Like if they're selling a knife for $10, you can imagine how fast they're sharpening it and what they're doing to it to get it out the door to you. You know, they don't give a shit what happens to that edge, the steel, or anything like that. So you're going to be more likely that that can happen with something like that. And that's why a lot of people, they don't have the they've never really touched anything that's different, you know, so they don't know the difference between a good steel and a bad steel. I remember when I first I still remember when I first got to sharpen, and this was after I had sharpened so many production knives. So I was already a good sharpener, and then I got to sharpen a custom, and with a custom heat treat from a guy who knew how to heat treat. And I remember like just having that feeling like, holy cow, like it was so much different. Everything was different. Just the way it felt on the stone to how the burr came up. But I wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't sharpened a lot. That was is something that comes with doing it a lot. Based on your vid, I got the Work Sharp Field Sharpener, first diamond plates, and loving it. Still can't get shaving sharp, but it's real close. Sharpened a bunch of blades with it. Thanks for the review. Spend more time on each side, so you're probably not following or chasing the grit. Chase the grit and the burr. You need both. So when you chase the grit, you're basically whatever angle you're putting it at, make sure that your new edge goes all the way to the apex. That's probably why you're not getting it to hair sharp. It's either because you're not raising a good burr from heel to tip, or you're not doing a good burr removal. So one of those two things is your issue. Kara is playing her game. She was just here a second ago. All right, now, really quick, we're going to check out some new knives that I might have coming. I'm not sure which ones or anything like that, but we're going to check some out really quick. Give me 1 second. Let me find it really quick. It's only taking me a second. All right, here we go. Now, I'm going to be getting some of these, and I want to show you guys. I'm pretty excited about it. So, if you guys don't know, Schrade is bringing their stuff back to the USA. Isn't that awesome? Schrade Knives, who was a USA company, started doing shit overseas. Now they're bringing stuff back to the US. That's exciting, right? So I am going to be getting some of these knives. And we are going to go through some of the USA made ones. So here we go. You see we have well, let's go to the knives really quick, because so they have the Alpha, Beta, and Delta class. The Alpha class is all USA made. We have the Melee auto folder. We'll just take a quick look at all these. The prices, you know, it's made in the USA, so you know, they're going to be a little bit more expensive. S35 VN. This one looks like, what kind of lock is that? Is that an auto? Yeah, it's an auto. Okay, so this one's an auto. Very cool. We have a Tonto. Looks like a flat grind on both sides. Next, we have one with what they call their pivot lock. It's an access lock. Looks like G10 and titanium or aluminum. I'm not sure which one. Let's see what it says down here. View details. I don't know. It doesn't say. At least I don't see it. Anyways, 200 bones. Not too bad. Next, we have this one. I like the way this one looks. The Radok pivot lock, another access lock. Love the blade shape. We have basically a Wharncliffe, but it's a modified Wharncliffe. And I say modified because this has a little bit of belly. The edge does. But otherwise, you know, it's a Wharncliffe. They even call it a Wharncliffe. It looks like carbon fiber, shred carbon fiber on this one. Next we have, and I'm not sure which one of the ones of these I'm getting, so I'm gonna try to get as many as I can, guys. What happened? We got messed up. All right, so next we have some ballad songs, and then the Entice Auto. This looks badass to me. I can't tell. It almost looks like a hollow. Love the blade shape. We have a spear point blade. It has a nice swedge at the top, which we're going to talk about swedges here in a minute. Aluminum handle. They call it a bayonet blade. That just sounds badass. It's a spear point, but a bayonet blade. I love it. Okay, now let's go to the beta class. Beta. Let's go to the betas. These have some USA made ones too, by the way. So this one is the slight compact folder and then the slight folder. So it looks like the compact is a little bit shorter, is it? It kind of looks like it. We'll check out and this is made in the USA still. Now, some of these are not going to be made in the USA. They're going to be assembled in the USA. This one's actually made in the USA. It must be like D2 steel. Okay. Nice Wharncliffe though. It looks like a steel frame lock. I can't tell. Yeah, stainless steel. So we have a stainless steel handle. I hope it's not a, I don't think Ultra Glide technology. I don't think it is an assist, which is cool. I think they're starting to get the message. Now we have the Viper Blackout OTF. And then a couple more OTFs. Looks like we have a California legal one here. Bunch more OTFs. I'm going to try to get some of these. These are the ones that are assembled in the USA. So I'm definitely going to be trying to get these. Remember, guys, I cannot see your well, you know what? I can come over here and see your comments. Made in the USA after how long automatically means they are... Wait. Automatically means they get to rip our faces off. Well, I mean, I like seeing Schrade come back to the USA, so I'm proud of that. It is going to cost more no matter what. It's not that they're ripping us off. It's that it costs more. There's a reason why they go overseas, right? They go overseas because I'm not going to go into it, but there's 20 reasons why it's more affordable over there. And there's, you know, obviously 20 other reasons why it's more over here. So it just is what it is. I mean, you're not going to work for $2 an hour making knives, right? So they can't sell it for, you know, less than they have to pay to make it. Are there some that are more than they probably should be? Maybe. But, you know, there's a market. The Veracity, that's kind of cool. $40, but it's assisted. So we don't care about that one. But anyways, so I'm going to try to get these on the channel, and I think it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about it because I'm happy to see them come back to the USA. Some of them look like really good quality. They look like they're stepping it up. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of most of the choils, but I'm happy about it. $60 ain't bad at all. Right. And some of those, the ones made in the USA for $50 with D2, that's pretty good. Now, I know the S35 ones that are probably better quality and everything. Yeah, they're like $250, which is what you're going to see everywhere else. Now, some people would argue, well, what about Hogue? Hogue's doing shit for under $200. Hogue's got a big factory. Hogue probably has the ability. And, you know, like I said, I don't know 100%, right? I'm not working for their factory. Yeah, maybe they're fucking taxing $100 extra. I don't know. But if I had to guess, I would guess there's other little details that we don't know, like how much supplies they can buy. They're just now coming back to the USA. So this is a whole new setup for them. Are they using an OEM here, or are they opening up their own shop? I don't know. you know, like, but those details matter. If they're paying an OEM to do it, then they have to pay them. If they're opening up their shop, well, then they're buying new tools and buying everything. So there's probably reasons why it's going to cost a little bit more. Antimatter with the 5 bones. Thanks, brother. Hi, Jared. The QSP Penguin and Jigged Tie and M390 dropped on Monday for $125. They're still available. Yes. Don't forget, guys, oh, no, that video doesn't go up till tomorrow. Okay, so I have a video tomorrow talking about it again. I don't know where the hell they're at. Oh, they're in my case. Yes, the jig bone pattern QSP Penguin dropped on traditional folding knives or traditional pocket knives website. You can go to traditional pocket knives website. They have a QSP Penguin exclusive, the titanium one that has a jigged pattern. Might as well pull it out and show you guys really quick. So they have it in all black and raw. This one's the raw one. M390 titanium, super thin titanium pocket clip, amazing bearing action. These things are badass and they're very affordable. And that's an exclusive to traditional pocket knives. Yeah, I thought so too. I thought the Raddock looked pretty cool too. As long as their quality is on point, they should be okay. But got to be able to compete with other USA made knives. Right, and that's why I was bringing up the Sig Sauer K320, Hogue, you know, that they're able to do good quality USA made knives with premium steels for under $150. So is Spyderco. But Spyderco is a really big factory. Hogue as well. So I'm not saying they have to be at the same price or less, but they should be able to compete. I agree with that. I do think that maybe there should be a little bit of a window. They're just coming back. So and like I said, there's details we don't know, right? Like if you're arguing about, say, Hogue, right? Like the Sig Sauer. Hogue's doing it for Sig Sauer. And with Hogue, they're doing their own knives. Spyderco, they're doing their own knives, right? I don't know if another company's making these Schrades or if Schrade's making them. I don't know. Obviously, it's a place in the USA. Jared says, I get that. I love USA made knives, and the fact that they're coming back, great. They should slowly raise the prices of their products instead of immediately overpricing. Their tools need to prove the quality. I agree with that. I think it would be smart, which they did do some budget knives though, so give them credit for that. But I do agree they should come in, at a price that is reasonable in order to get people to try it first. Because it would be nice to get it a little bit lower. Make sure they're good quality, because there's going to be people that are just fearful. They're going to be like, I don't want to get a $100 knife for $250. And I mean like $100 USA made knife for $250. What's up, Ian? You and MC convinced me to get a Rockwall. Schrade was the first knife I ever bought in a Walmart in the 90s. If Schrade can be as good as the Rockwall, I'm in. Hemi says, hey, Dr. J, how sharp should your knife be? Laugh my ass off. Absolutely love it. Well, I would say your knife should be as sharp as freaking possible. But you definitely want to, you don't want it to be so sharp that it's fragile. So there is a balance, but as sharp as you can get it without it being fragile. The Schrade thing, though, I have still a USA made Schrade, an old one, and I'm happy to see them come back to the USA. But yeah, I don't want to, or with Rockwall is going to be different, right? They're offering titanium and premium steels. They're a smaller company doing CNC. So I don't know if it'll be as good as that or better or worse or anything like that, but you don't want to compare those two companies. That's going to be a little difficult to compare. But I don't know. We'll see. I hope they're really good. I just hope they're not fucking Gerber quality. But I am in cahoots with them, so we shall see. And they know I'm gonna be honest, so we'll see how it goes. That might be a big ask. Rockwall's pretty sweet. Right. That's what I mean. The Rockwall is really sweet. And it's titanium. I love my Rockwall too. If I'm paying $250 and they're calling it a bayonet blade, that just is a throw off for me. Well, it's still technically they're not bullshitting. Like I have a bayonet over here and it's that exact shape. So they're not lying. SPYDERCO has stepped up their sharpening. My MAXAMET and 20 CV were hair whittling out of the box. I've actually gotten a couple too. They were hair whittling out of the box. Now they have a robot that sharpens their knives, so they're not doing it by hand. They have robotic sharpening. Now that's also why sometimes their edges are off. I personally don't get mad at it anymore. I used to not like that. It used to bother me. And I'll tell you why it doesn't bother me anymore. So it used to bother me when like one edge bevel was a little bit bigger on one side than the other, or sometimes they were even all the way up and down, but then at the tip, one would be bigger than the other. And then to sharpen that out, it's kind of a bitch. The reason why I don't care anymore is because their damn heat treats are so good. I'm happy to sharpen it. That's okay. Like I would take the steel being as good a quality heat treat as they do over a wonky edge, because their edges are still good. Even if it's a little wonky, right? Even if say one bevel's a little bit bigger than one on one side, or the tip is a little bit bigger on one side, they still do low angles, right? What is it? 15 degrees per side on a lot of their knives. They do low angles and they're very sharp usually. So because of those two reasons, I'm happy, and the heat treat's good. So because of those reasons, I don't care if it's off a little bit. You know, it's not, that doesn't affect anything. It's a visual thing, really. Like I've never had a tip or an edge that was slightly off and it affected any sort of performance. Never once. Not even a little bit. Yes, the heat treat is really, really good from them. At least from my experience in the past 2 years. Like I know I've talked to some people that have brought up them in the past, but they're, you know, you can't talk about something from 5-10 years ago or something, you know, talk about them today. And today they're doing great heat treats, and you can't name another company that's doing 20 plus different kinds of steels. Good. You know, most companies, the companies like say KIZER, right? KIZER does a lot of different steels. They have 4V, 10V right here. I have 10V sitting here somewhere. 10V. This is like K390. They got M390, 20CV, S35VN, 154CM, N690. They do so many different kinds of steels, and they're still not doing as much as SPYDERCO. Do you know what's a good shop to get knives from that ships to the good old land down under? I have just been sourcing from all over the places in Australia. I'm not positive, but maybe Blade HQ. Try Blade HQ. I'm not 100%, but that's where I would check. Blade HQ. I think it's so smart they do all the steals. I do too. I think that, and they're not doing them bad. They're doing them good. If you really want to see, like say if you have any other steel and you're wondering, like, is it that good? Compare it to SPYDERCO's. That's how you'll know. I mean, there's going to be times where, yes, sharpen it a couple times, like we talked about. I'm not saying SPYDERCO isn't susceptible to burnt edges. I'll be honest though, most of the time when I don't, like most SPYDERCOs, I don't really experience much of a burnt edge. I have, but some of the best edges I've ever tried were from SPYDERCO. Not saying they were perfectly even, but I'm saying by angle, level of sharpness, heat treat, and quality of like how long it lasts and everything, it's been SPYDERCO. Yes, their grinds are wonky and stuff like that, but like I said, I'm not mad at that. You'll notice those defects on different types of uses. You can't have different bevels on high quality skinning knives. I don't do a lot of skinning. I mean, I have done skinning, but yeah, you're right. I can't argue with that because I don't know. You might be right. And when you get to that thin of geometry, you're right. That could totally probably mess you up, especially when, you know, a centimeter is a big difference. But for EDC related, you know, like, and I can't imagine, you know, like whether if you're skinning fish or deer or any. Oh, thank you, baby. Fish or whatever, deer, whatever. Yeah, I'm sure that it moving a little tiny bit can be a big difference. So yeah, I don't want to speak on that. I'm not talking about that, but for regular EDC use, because when you're talking about skinning knives, you're talking about very thin geometry already, so thin that they bend, right? So when you're talking about that thin, yeah, it's probably going to be a big difference. So in general, does cheaper $30 to $40 knives hold up over time in terms of edge retention? Well, it just depends on the steel, but no, it's yes and no, right? So yes, you can get a good $30, $40 knife. Yes, you can. But it's going to work at its limits. All right. Is it going to be as good as, say, and this doesn't mean that you can't get a $140 knife that's not shit. Right? Yes, you can get a $140 knife that's shit, and you can get one that's good. You can get a $30, $40 knife that's shit, and you can get one that's good. So it's not about price. It's about company and if they're credible, right? So a $30 to $40 good quality knife from a credible company is not going to be, or not going to cut as long as a good $140 knife with a better steel from a good company. So, like, the difference between 154 cm and 20 CV is a massive difference in edge retention. So, and especially if it's done well. Now, there's going to be times where, like you can get, like, say for $30, $40, the one issue, not issue, I don't want to say issue. The one thing with it is that you can get a $30, $40 knife in, say, D2, and then another $30, $40 knife in D2, and they'll have completely different edge retention because one, they could be, you know, heat treated a little bit differently, but it's just the quality of the steel and how well they're doing it and everything else. But yeah, you can get good quality $30, $40 knives. Fuck, I mean, yeah. Another thing is, and this is where we're gonna get into geometry and stuff like that, because your edge angle, the type of edge you put on it, for the steel it is, all that stuff matters. Certain steels take low angle edges better, and with a low angle edge, your edge retention is going to increase. Your toughness will go down. Edge retention up, toughness down. Now some steels might not do really good at super low angles, so you want still a low angle, but just not maybe as low of an angle as you did on the other steel. So you want to put the type of edge that's best for your purpose, what you're doing with it, and for the steel, and for that knife. Okay, so before, really quick, because we're about to get into swedges, geometry, and things like that. We're going to get into really deep about this stuff here in 1 second. But first, we're going to go over scent of the day because I'm really excited about this stuff. This stuff is delicious, guys. Where's it at? So this is, sorry guys, my foot. Sometimes the sucker starts itching. It's healing. All right, so give Blades and Fades a follow. Yes, Blades and Fades is an awesome dude. He does a lot of sharpening as well. I'm going to go through some comments, and then we're going to get to scent of the day. You mentioned making passes to get a better edge. How many passes in your mind do you think you make on a normal sharpening per side, 50 to 100? So I can't answer that because there's so many variables there. How thick is it behind the edge? The thinner it is, the less time it'll take. The thicker it is, the more time it'll take. What angle are you doing it at? And I know you just want an answer here, but there really isn't an answer. That's kind of like me saying, how many passes with a saw does it take to cut through a tree? You would say, how big is the tree? What kind of saw is it? How long is the saw? Right? What kind of wood is it? Right? You mention all that. It's the same concept. If it's super thin, it'll go faster. If your angle's high, it'll go faster. If your angle's low, say 15 degrees, it's going to take longer. How abrasive is your stone? Is it super coarse? Is it 140 grit or is it 300 grit? All these things matter. So it's just until. That's the answer. Until so when you start sharpening, you will see the grit pattern on the edge. You will see your damage, not your damage, but your new edge. Continue until that goes all the way down to the apex. Right? So if I'd like to just use, if this is the edge, right? If this is the entire edge, and when you're sharpening, this is where you start at the top, right? You're sharpening. Watch your grit go from the top of the edge bevel all the way down to the apex. That's when you should start feeling a burr, right? Then you flip and go to the other side. Yes, baby.
Oh, I thought you said you were doing scent of the day.
I am about to do scent of the day. Okay,
I was going to be here for it.
Okay, you want to be here for it?
Well, you got to smell it.
Okay, let's do it.
I don't think they care how you think they smell.
This is a good one, though. This is a good one.
I know, but typically, women feel different about it.
Yeah, they do. You're right. I'm not going to argue with you.
I have another thing to say really quick.
Yes.
Two things. One, like my giraffe.
Lincoln Park Zoo.
No, my giraffe.
Oh, the giraffe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Chicago.
I got it because you like giraffes.
It's a giraffe from the Chi.
Yeah. Chi-town giraffes.
Do you think that place has been there since 1868?
Yeah, it's a Chicago park district, so probably.
Okay.
The zoo is part of the park district. Anyway, one other question for you.
Yes.
Me love.
Yes.
Would it be a possibility to keep it closer to 9 so we can watch a movie? Is that possible? Is it in the realm of this universe? Maybe
9:15. Okay. Mike's going live right after, so I can't promise anything.
Doesn't that mean you should wrap it up on time?
That's what I meant. So I was gonna go till 9:30. K Mason with the 10 bones. What is a Rockstead? Love you, Jared. Love you too, brother. Thank you, man. We might bust out the Rockstead here in a minute, in a little bit. Maybe we'll pull it out since you paid for it. And I didn't even notice Brian's in here from Transparent Knives. But Jared, how many licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? I don't want you to ask about how big my tongue is. I just want an answer. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it, man. Hey, shout out to Transparent Knives. Go and follow his Instagram. He's doing amazing stuff over there. Not only is he doing, different regrinds, he's making blades and different kinds of steels at the best kind of heat treats you guys can imagine. If you guys want to talk about good quality heat treats and you want to hear from an expert, that's the guy right there. I don't even know a tenth of his knowledge when it comes to heat treating and steels and all that stuff. I test them, but he makes them. Go and follow Brian over at Transparent Knives. Awesome guy in the community. And then we have another donation for 5 bones. Formula One. Just wondering what you'd recommend as a source to learn about EDC and related laws for your state. Go on Google. Go on Google don't just
trust it though.
Don't just check your state, check your county. So, you have the your rights, your constitutional rights, but the states do have restrictions and things like that. So, they can't never violate your constitutional rights technically. Technically, anything that violates your constitutional rights technically cannot be law. Right? It's kind of just like a suggestion. I'm not a lawyer. Go read up on it. I don't even think I could talk about it on here without fucking being demonetized. Jared, stop the live right now. Kara is the perfect wife for you, and you'd want some time, and she wants some time with you. We don't need knife intro. You need each other. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it, man. And there is Transparent Knives right there. You guys can just hit that link and go and follow him on Instagram.
I'm okay with 9:15.
Okay. Thank you, baby. Okay, so let's go to scent of the day really quick. Then we'll get back to some knife talk. So today's scent of the day, in my opinion, is a really good one. I'm super glad I got this one. It is linked in the description. It's GISADA Ambassador for men. Not the woman one, not the ladies one, the men's one. Here is the bottle. Now, the top is magnetic. The sprayer's really good. Before she even smells it, we're gonna I'll get to your donation in 1 second. So the top notes, and I'm also gonna talk about what I get from it, but the top notes are green mandarin, apple cardamom. We're gonna go back to that. Violets. The heart of it, so the middle of it, is lavender, black pepper, peony, patchouli, and mango. Then the base is vetiver, amber, and moss teak. Now, with this makeup, if you know, you would think that it sounds like it's similar to Dior Sauvage, right? That's what it sounds like. It's not. It has a tiny, tiny resemblance, but it's not. So, it is very, very juicy and boozy. So it's a sweet, juicy, boozy smell. So I do not smell any of the patchouli or the mandarin. You do smell the mango, but it's not like a mango scent, but it is definitely a juicy, sweet smell. So you get a juicy, sweet smell. Fucking shit, man. With the black pepper bringing in a spice. So you do have spice, but not like Dior Sauvage spice. So you would think with the apple patchouli, because, you know, with apple and patchouli, it would smell like apple pie. It does not. Does not have that because the spice is not as strong in it. There is a hint of spice. So it's sweet and like I said, boozy almost. There is that lower levels of spice and things like that. So it is a sweet masculine smell. And I don't mean boozy like you put it on, you're gonna get pulled over and they're gonna ask you to get out and take a damn breathalyzer. That's not what I mean.
It's like a note of whiskey.
Almost, yeah, but not like to the point to where if you put it on, somebody will think you've been drinking all day. Not that.
Not like rubbing alcohol.
In a good way. In a good way. Okay, you ready?
Where are you spraying it? Not on you?
Oh, this smells so good.
Okay, that's one of those ones where,
like,
you're gonna.
They can hear you, baby. It's turned up.
Okay, that's one of those ones where you're gonna definitely like stand out. Like the scent is not the same. Like it's not like one of those fresh out of the shower, like typical scents that you can buy at every store anywhere, and like everyone has at least one that smells like it. It has more of a unique smell, definitely a masculine smell, but it's still got sweet cleanness. But in the like when I inhaled it really deep,
almost an oriental smell. Oriental means
almost like
sweet, spicy.
I would agree
sweet,
with that.
Juicy, spicy.
It almost has like a citrus orange scent, and
see, I don't get the orange, but I get the mango.
It's in the undertone. It's a
very
right.
It's undertone,
very deep in there. That's good.
So just so you guys know, fresh out of the bottle, what you'll smell is it's sweet and juicy, but in a masculine way. And then the undertone, you get that little bit of black pepper, and then a booziness, and really good. I think I got it linked down there for like $95. This is a pretty decent sized bottle, so this will last you a good while. You can get test samples. This is one though, like I would totally recommend, like, to any guy. You can wear it any weather, right? Summer, winter, anything like that. In the summer though, you're not going to want to put on a lot of sprays. It's definitely powerful, but that's a good thing. Then you spray it, you don't have to put 20 sprays just to smell good. 1 or 2 sprays in the summer, because in summertime the heat brings out the sweetness and it's already sweet. In the winter though, you could probably go crazy with it. But yeah, I think that this would be pretty much any age. It's just a good all-around smell. You're gonna smell clean, fresh, sweet, juicy, and masculine. So that's the beautiful thing. I don't think I've watched many female reactions to it. I have yet to have heard a girl say she didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah. No, I've yet to hear anybody give it a number under 7 too. So, which, if you guys don't know, a 7 or an 8 for a girl is a 10.
Right.
Most
it's
girls
true.
will never say, like, very rarely you'll get a 10. Like the only ones I've ever heard a 10 from any girl's mouth is the Blue Edition Chanel, the Dylan Blue, the
Yeah.
Versace Dylan Blue, and Sauvage. And but that was like one person out of like 10 different videos.
Really
Okay,
quick,
let's go ahead.
Levi said, "Hey Kara, how much do you love your McBee? I've been thinking about buying my mom one. She uses a knife every day on the farm." Did you just blow a kiss to?
To my mom.
Oh, okay. You're like blowing a kiss to it.
I was blowing a kiss the breeze.
Anyway, I absolutely love my McBee. That's like one of my favorite knives. It's such a sturdy little thing. But if she's doing like farm work, I don't know like what the intent
What's the question?
is.
What's the question?
It's for me.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. He wants to know how much I like the McBee and thinking about getting his mom one. But then he said about like being on a farm, and I'm just saying
It's not a farm knife.
It's not a farm knife, but it is a sturdy little thing.
It's a
for
box
small
opener.
little tasks.
It's a box opener.
Like I call it.
Remember, it's only this big.
I call it like a thread popper, right? Like it's good to pull out, pop a thread off, or open a little package. But like if there's some legitimate farm work, like it just doesn't have a good, like a long enough grip to like be steady if you're opening a big bag of feed or something like that all the time. But for like a secondary or even just like a, you know, just something to have because you want something little like a thread popper, it's definitely a good one. I love it a lot. I even have secondary scales for it, made by Brian McNeese, so that's cool. All right, I'm gonna get back out of here, and then I'm gonna see you at 9:15 because we have a date.
Yep. All right. Okay. Love you.
Bye guys. Love you.
Okay, so back to action.
Oh,
all right.
Action didn't happen when
Kara, your hair looks beautiful.
Really? Thank you. Back to action.
Yes.
So action ceased when I was here.
No, for the sun. End of the day. All right, back to action. Damn it! Every time I set this thing down on my pad, it messes up. All right, so I did want to go into bucks, but if we have time, we'll go into that. I do want to get into thickness behind the edge first, and we're gonna go down the line of things because I think some people get pocket knives, right? They get a knife and they just get one that looks cool or looks like a style they like, not realizing that might not be the knife that they need or the style that they need because they don't understand all the variables, right? So they'll get a knife and it'll work half-assed for them. And they think that is how any knife that they're about to get, any knife they get, that's how it's going to work. Not realizing that knife is working against you and what you are doing in particular. So, but when you do understand little details, it helps you realize or understand what knife is going to be best for you. Taking away the steel, talking about grinds, swedges, shapes, and shit like that. So, one thing really quick about thickness behind the edge, and this is just a measurement thing really quick, and we're going to go to swedges next, but when you measure thickness behind the edge, you guys, me and Brian also talked about this not too long ago. When you measure thickness behind the edge, you also got to remember that when you're talking about a flat grind, especially, that you have to understand what angle it's sharpened at. Because, like, say if this knife is sharp, you know, let me just pull up the knife that's in my, right here. Say this knife right here. If I measure it right now with the factory edge on there, that's probably 25 degrees per side. It's 15 thousandths behind the edge. Now, after I sharpen it and put a 15-degree angle on each side, it's probably going to be like 20 thousandths behind the edge. I don't know for sure, but I'm just saying, you know. So the angle of which your edge bevel is matters. You can get a knife from the factory that's 30 degrees per side that's 10 thousandths behind the edge. Is it really 10 thousandths behind the edge? Yeah, because you have a tiny ass edge bevel on it. The second you actually sharpen it and put a good edge on there, all of a sudden it goes up to 30 thousandths behind the edge or something. So you have to put that into consideration when measuring behind the edge thickness. Now, talking about how things can work together for you when thinking about purchasing a knife and wondering what you should get or what would work best for you. So let's just talk about really quick grinds. So like the difference, like a full flat, right? A full flat grind does not have a swedge, right? A swedge on the top. What does a swedge look like? A swedge would be like this. So see how it has this swedge on the top? Sorry, this is a little dirty. Now, what is that swedge for? See how it has that swedge on the top of the spine if the light won't stop playing with it? So that swedge is so when you're pushing it through material, when you're pushing it through cardboard or something like that, it helps the blade, like say if this is the material and I'm putting a blade down through in between my hands, it makes the material go around it like that. It puts a little space at the spine right here. When it's going through something, it puts a little space there so that there's a gap between materials when it's dense. So if you're pushing it through dense materials, that blade might go through easier than say something that's and remember, geometry matters through everything I'm saying right now, and we'll get to that at the end. But it might go through better than something that's say a full flat. Now, a full flat might be better at something that spreads like this, you know, kind of like cardboard in some cases, or stuff that goes like this, that peels like this. You know, when you cut stuff and like kind of like paper, you know, you cut paper and paper goes like this. Now, chef knives, they're full flat grinds usually. They go through food really good because once you crack it in half, in most cases or in some cases, it already separates and gives you a gap. And then also like skin and things like that, it's not so dense to the point to where it's mushing against you, right? Like some people like to put an apple, you know, like if you take something that's really thick at the spine and it doesn't have enough room to get down to a thin edge and you try to push it through an apple, it'll just shatter the apple. It just cracks it into pieces instead of giving you a clean cut. But if you had thinner geometry, you'd be able to get through that apple. But the swedge can help you go through dense stuff because it puts a gap at the spine, allowing that there not to be friction there. Because if you can stop friction from being at the spine, that's one less spot on the blade when pushing it through something that you're having friction, because you're going to have friction everywhere else. Oh yeah, I got to get to this super chat really quick. I seen that other one. Sorry, Jeremiah with the 2 bones. Thanks again for being just so awesome. Thank you, man. I do appreciate it. Formula One. I think I already read this. But I seen another one. We're going to get to it. And thank you again, guys, for all the donations. It massively helps the channel. Ian with the 5 bones. Hey, Jared. Saw you running around like a spade demon. Kick ass to see. Happy you're healing so dang well. Thank you, man. I'm happy to be back on my feet. Because I'll tell you what, man. I was like a caged animal there for a couple days. It almost got dangerous. Now, tapering spines, kind of like this, right? This goes from thick, tapers down to thin. Now, this might be really good at piercing. And then also when I'm passing through materials, if I bend it like this part of the blade might slide through things a little bit easier than this part of the blade, this part rather than this part. But then there is knives where you get the same thickness all the way down to the tip. Let me find one. Kind of like this, right? This doesn't have a tapering spine, not until you get here, and it tapers from here down to the tip right there. But the actual spine is the same thickness all the way across. That helps bring strength out. So this whole blade is going to be stronger than if it had a tapering spine. Now, some knives have, or like, let's say with a hollow, right? A hollow grind is going to be nice and thin down here when it's a saber, then a thick, stronger spine. So it's going to be strong up here, thin down here. Now, depending on the geometry, this can either cut really good or bad. Some hollow grinds don't cut good at all because the spine thickness is so thick that by the time they get to the hollow, when you go to push this through something, The hollow, it's like going like this. So the material has to get over the thickness of the spine. That's why with a hollow grind, having a thin spine can be really good. But all these little details really matter. Now, if you look at this one is the HAZAKURA. It's the same spine thickness all the way across, all the way to like right here. And then from here to the tip, it gives you a swedge to the tip of the edge. But what they did was, in order to make it cut good, while also having the spine thickness, they put the swedge there. So that swedge that you see right there, that's going to help that part of the blade pass through material. So that's where you'll let cardboard slide through, right? But it helps it have, nice strength, being that it's slim all the way out to here. It helps it add strength, having that same spine thickness. If this tapered from the thickness that it is here, like a Spyderco, it would be super fragile. So knowing what all those little details are for and why they do it, when you're looking at a knife, it can help, if you understand it, it might help you pick the knife that's best for you and what you're wanting it for. Most people just want a good EDC knife for all around, right? And there's a lot of those, but sometimes you want something specific. And if you're at work and you're going to be cutting straps, ropes, cardboard, plastic, there might be specific blade shapes that work best for you and grinds. I remember like a long time ago, I'd buy a pocket knife from Walmart or something, and I didn't know why it wasn't working that good. Like sometimes I'd be fighting to push it through something, thinking, like that's just how knives worked, right? Like that you just had to put that much pressure to push it through whatever I was cutting. But that wasn't the case. It's just I wasn't using an appropriate knife for the job. I wasn't using the right blade shape. I wasn't using the right grind, not the right angle of which it should be sharpened at, and all the other details. But tips too, right? So a tip that's going to be good for utility cuts might be fragile. So in that case, that's not going to be something that you want to use for hard use. So like say a Spyderco, right? It has a tapering spine down to the tip. So it goes from thick to super thin, and it just tapers down to the tip. This isn't going to be a strong, durable tip. Yeah, there's a bit of steel here, but there's no reinforcements from the side, right? It's a full flat with a tapering spine. Now, something that would be different would be, say, let me grab something that would be a good example. Say something like this, right? Something like this. By the way, I think these things are back in stock. White Mountain Knives, the Beglighter Button Lock XL exclusive. It has the spine thickness that goes all the way to here. Then it has a swedge. So this swedge is going to help bring, make it a little thinner on the top of the spine, but it also brings the spine thickness to the tip a little bit more, reinforcing it, not only this direction, but also through the sides. So it's adding a little bit more stability to the sides of the tip. I'm trying to find one that's a really good example here. Not that one for sure. I guess this one, no. I thought I pulled one out just for this reason, but maybe I did not and I forgot. I guess I did not. Anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about when you see the swedge on the side of the tip. Damn it, I thought I did. I must have not. But also, like say with the sheep's foot, right? The sheep's foot. Now this has the flat grind right here, but the spine thickness is all the same here. The taper down to the tip doesn't even start till right here. All this is the same thickness right here to give strength. So this is supposed to be tough and strong, basically, and cut reasonably well. Now, mixing all of that with ergos and having that good balance, right? Like, so if you have something, say, that's thicker, well, now you need to be able to put leverage behind it to push it through something dense. So that's going to have to do with your ability to hold on to it. If you put, say, a skinny little dumb handle, let's say this handle, right, on something that's super thick behind the edge, that doesn't have a swedge, maybe that's a thick spine, thick behind the edge, and you're trying to push it through, it's going to cut like shit. And you're not going to have the ability to push it through things either. So you're going to think the whole time that your knife cuts like crap. No, that's just that knife, that kind of knife. That knife is designed for tougher use. It's not designed for cutting performance. Now, if you had better ergos, you might be able to push it through easier. So it might actually cut better. But having those details, so your ergos coupled with your blade shape, coupled with the geometry of the blade shape, the style of the blade, unlike where swedges are, full flat, hollow grind, you know, all the grinds, all that stuff matters, and whether or not it's going to perform for you for the task you're doing. Like I always mention this. This is going to cut like shit for utility cuts. This I will have, if I had to do utility cuts all day, and I mean a utility cut, meaning like you cut like this, you know, down on something like, say, a straight line, this would go like crap, because in order for me to get to that tip, I have to raise my arm all the way up here and I lose all the leverage. Down here is where I get leverage, where I can keep the tip nice and low and pull back. But the tip's all the way up in the air. So this would do good for skinning and things like that, outdoor use, but not utility cuts. Now, say something like this would do great at utility cuts, right? So having the right shape, the right grind, the right everything is a big deal when it comes to having the right knife. Hey, Knives Fast is here. What's up, KC? Just stopping by for a few. Get you some Neevesknives merch. Oh, man, Fiend, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Yo, Jared, do you know of a website that sells Tonto versions of the Mini Griptilian that are not clones? No, just from Benchmade. But I can, all the Benchmades I can link, none of them are, it's not even worth it for me to link them. Sometimes I do, but they sell them for the same price, if not more, than they do on their website. So, and I can see they're from Benchmade, but they always add tax because they have to pay Amazon, I think, or something. So they just add it onto the price. But I'm sure you can get it from directly from Benchmade. And I think that they have the Griptilian in the custom shop now. What's up, Luke? Work put us back on days. Hot as a son of a beach. Demco AD 20.5 Sheepsfoot would be great for that cutting. Yes, it would. Now, the problem with it is the geometry. So it's not going to be a good cutter. It's not going to be a good slicer, and technically the ergos aren't great for that type of blade geometry. It has blade geometry for something that should be much more contoured and bigger. That's the problem with it. So that would not be a great blade shape if you're planning on pushing material through. Now, Transparent Knives, on the other hand, Brian, he makes reblades for it. So with much better geometry, which in return makes that knife the way it should be, right? Because those are the things that matter. He puts a hollow grind or a full flat or a flat grind, but to the that goes down to a thickness behind the edge that's super thin. Not only does that benefit you in sharpening, because when you resharpen it multiple times, it doesn't get thicker behind the edge, or it doesn't get thicker so quick. And it passes through materials much, much easier with the ergos that are at hand. Because is that a comfortable knife in the hand? Yeah, it's okay. Is it like a fixed blade? No. Then why does it have fixed blade geometry? It literally has fixed blade geometry. I'll measure mine right now. Let's measure how thick this fucker is behind the edge. I got my old blade here. So I got mine has a new blade. Let me just grab it. I'll just show you guys. Now this is, give me 1 second because I gotta find it. Aha. So this is my custom one from Transparent Knives. It's Magna Cut steel. It's 64.5 HRC with a spear point blade with a deep hollow grind at 10 thousandths behind the edge. Okay, very thin. I've sharpened it a couple times and it's still 10 thousandths behind the edge. Okay, awesome, awesome geometry. And it has a nice tall hollow. So this is mega, mega thin. Now this one is the old blade. Let's measure how thick it is behind the edge. 35 thousandths, and I've sharpened mine a bunch of times because this one had a shitty heat treat. About 35 thousandths. So, and I'll even zero it out just to make sure again. Yeah, 35 thousandths. So 35 thousandths behind the edge. And it had, you know, it's not like it's a super thin blade. Is it crazy thick? No, but why does it need to be that thick when it's not a fixed blade? Now, I'm not saying there are some knives that are that thick behind the edge that are fine, but they make more sense. They're full flat grinds with a nice broad blade. They have a super deep hollow grind. That's okay, right? Like kind of like this one. This one was 30 thousandths. I think it was 30 thousandths behind the edge, but it's a nice hollow grind. So this makes it cut really good. And look at the swedge on top. That swedge makes it to where this is thin. The thickest portion is right in the middle of the blade. And that makes it to where it passes through materials like this. Like I said, you know, if you put a blade between my hands, it makes the materials go around the blade like that. So it makes more sense. This one, on the other hand, it's a flat grind. That's a fast taper from this thickness to this thickness, and it goes to, you know, 35. It just doesn't make sense for this type of handle and ergos. It's not like that this is like the most comfortable thing in the world, right? So especially from the factory, this was FRN, and yeah, now mine's titanium. But what's up, Chugget? But yeah, but when you put those other little details into consideration, like think about it. We just put this knife at 35 thousandths, 30 to 35, versus this one that's basically the same thing, right? This will cut so much better than this one just because of the two little details. That swedge, well, three details. The swedge, the hollow grind, and the ergos. Now, not saying that this has better ergos, but because of the swedge and the hollow grind, of course it's going to cut better than this. Now, like I said, the hollow grind doesn't necessarily mean it's going to cut better. But like, say if I take my hollow, I have the MEDFORD MC or the USMC flipper. That sucker's got a thick blade stock. So even though it has a hollow, that's not going to be the best for EDC, even though it's a hollow. Even though it has good ergos and everything. Does it cut good? Yeah, it cuts okay, but not compared to something with a thinner blade stock. Scroll up. Super chat. Thank you, Fiend. Salute to you, brother. Lobster. Thank you for the 5 bones, man. I appreciate the donation so much, guys. Hey, could you explain what a burr is and why it's so important? I've never checked for a burr, and my knives get sharp and stay sharp in my experience. Okay, so technically, if you're sharpening, you have to know what a burr is. You have to understand it. If you do not, you won't be able to get a good apex and you won't get a good burr. A burr is when you're sharpening. So when you're sharpening, it makes a little wire up there. That's the burr. So as I'm sharpening this side, I'm going to remove steel, and as I'm sharpening over here, I'm going to keep on sharpening on this side. A burr is going to form so I can feel it on the opposite side, like a wire. So if I'm sharpening this knife, and say if I sharpen this side, right? I'm sharpening this side, sharpening it on a stone, right? I'm going to check this side, the opposite side, for a burr like this. I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to rub it like that, because a wire is going to be on this side folded over. Now I want that wire. That wire is going to indicate that I removed steel from the top of the edge bevel down to the very apex. I repeat, from the top of the edge bevel. Let me grab something to point with. So the top of the edge bevel to the very apex, you know, the part that's sharp. And then I want to switch to the other side, do the same thing. And once I got a burr all the way across, now I can do a burr removal or move to the next stone. When you do your first stone, with all your stones, you want to make sure you get a burr, because you want to make sure that the finish, the new finish and the new grip pattern and the new angle you're sharpening at hits the entire edge bevel or creates the new edge bevel. So burr is just a wire that happens at the very apex from the heel of the blade. It'll happen from the heel all the way to the tip. There'll be a wire and you feel it just like this. You go up all the way up and down, all the way to the tip, and make sure it has that wire. At the end, you want to do a burr removal, which will reveal an apex. So the burr will be like this. When you do your burr removal, it will reveal a perfect clean apex. Think about sharpening a stick, right? You sharpen a stick on one side, you flip it over, sharpen a stick on the other side. Eventually, you're going to get to a point to where it's going to be really thin at the tip like this. And you're going to want to chop that piece off and reveal the apex. If that's the way you sharpened your stick. I know sticks are different, but hopefully that made sense. Probably went all over the place. Emler goes live in 20. Yes, Emler goes live in 20. Why wouldn't you be? I'll buy your stock Demgo blade. I don't know if you'll want it. I think the last time I sharpened it, I finally got into good steel, but it was really bad at first. So I didn't test it after the last time I sharpened it, but it was really bad up into the last. Like I said, like it was so bad sharpening it. The steel just felt like junk. Finally, I got into somewhat good steel. I don't know how good. Could be good, could be not that great. But I don't think you'll want it, bud. I really don't. My beautiful wife, she was just in here a minute ago. Anyone is still donating to that little guy and his girlfriend from Not Your Average EDC? That little guy and his that wasn't very nice. The problem I have with the KME is the length of the stones when you do a reprofile is too much back and forth, even with a 50 grit, depending on the thickness behind the edge. Like, yes, it's only a 4-inch stone. So a 4-inch stone is only going to be able to do what it can do, right? When you have a 6-inch stone or an 8-inch stone, then yeah, you're going to be able to do faster work, right? If you're sharpening something that's 40 thousandths behind the edge, it's going to take you a lot longer than if you're sharpening something that's 10 thousandths behind the edge. This, on a KME, you can sharpen it super fast, super duper fast, in minutes, because it's so thin behind the edge, even with a low angle. So all of those things mean, and that's another thing, talking about the geometry again, that's going to play into how easy it is to sharpen too. V edge versus convex edge. Which one you prefer? I personally love a convex. I like technically my favorite is a slight. So not a convex, not a V grind, a slight convex. That's my favorite. And the reason why is because I get the high level of sharpness, cutting, and toughness, because I like low angles, right? Since I like low angles, I sacrifice toughness when I do low angles. Like, say if I do a 15 degrees per side, that's going to be much more fragile than say 20 degrees per side talking about the angle I sharpen at. Now, if I slightly convex it, well, then I bring up the toughness, so now it's not so fragile. Now, doesn't mean that your edge is going to be fragile just because of that reason, because it's 15 degrees per side, but it's going to be more fragile than it was at 20 degrees per side, because depending on the steel, the toughness, and all those things, thickness behind the edge, all those things, matter and depend. Something that's 10 thousandths behind the edge right here at 15 degrees per side is going to be probably more fragile than, say, something that's 40 thousandths and 15 degrees. That's more like an axe. Have you seen the Paragon knives from Asheville Steel? I love my Stiletto, best OTF I've ever had. I have not tried their OTFs. No, I've tried other knives that they've had. The Warlock. Is a low grit diamond rod good for quickly reprofiling knives with budget steels, HCR, ARPM 9, D2, 9CR? No, not really. Can you tune them up? Yes, they're good for tune-ups, not good for reprofiling. Reprofiling, you want to, I'm not saying you can't do it. You can, but think about this. How much stone you have, if you're reprofiling, the bigger the stone and the more stone you have, the better, right? Say if I'm trying to remove a lot of steel, right? Is it going to remove it better if I have a stone this big or this big? Right? Where I can get the whole blade all at one swipe. This is going to go much faster than, say, something like this. You know what I mean? So it's going to take you a lot longer. That's what I'm saying. Yes, you can do it. Absolutely, you can do it. It's going to take a lot longer. So you're going to have a lot more chances of messing up. If you're really good at holding your angle and you're really good at seeing what you're doing and understanding all your movements and your grip pattern and your burr and understanding all of that, then you'll be fine. But if you're not good at those things, then you're gonna struggle a lot more. Now, there are times, depending on the person, where holding something, like say a half-inch stone or something like that, because you can get up nice and close to it and see everything you're doing, it might help you a little bit, but it's going to take longer. So that's just the unfortunate thing, is it takes longer. I know. All right, guys, we're going to take off. Listen, guys, I love you guys. Oh, patron members, go watch the giveaway video. More than half of you have not seen the giveaway video, and we already pulled the names. Oh, wait, all the winners. Never mind. I think all the winners did contact me. Never mind. Shout out to the Bang Gang Squad. Shout out to all the patron members. Don't forget, patrons, we have another giveaway coming right around the corner. Bang Gang Squad. Is that this weekend? Yes. This coming up weekend, we have a Bang Gang Live. I think it's this weekend. Shout out to everybody who donated. I do appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for all the donations. Thank you to everybody who hangs out with me in here. Thank you to everybody who donates and hits the like button and comments. It all means everything to me. Even in the regular videos, when you guys comment, even if it's just a thumbs up, it always helps. So thank you guys for that. Thank you to everybody who watches the ads, because I don't get paid unless if you guys watch at least 30 seconds of an ad, and it blesses us so much. We're able to do this, and we can't thank you guys enough that we are able to do this. We have a lot of really cool content planned. If you guys don't remember, before I got hurt, I had a huge plan and couldn't do it. I danced on knives and shit happens, right? So now that I can walk again, I'm catching up on some of the things I got backed up on while I was injured. I got a lot to catch up on, but as soon as I'm done catching up, I got some amazing videos coming out. So watch out for that stuff. And either way, we got a lot of great videos coming up, because I got some good stuff in right now for you guys to check out. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Todd, I seen what you said. I love you, brother. I love all you guys. Breeze, love you. And peace out, guys.